I'm Sori Luxon, and this is Planetary Magick, the moon, or traditionally, Luna, the Great Mother, or Mother Goddess. In classical Hermetic magic, like all magic, our power originates with the use of the will through various forms to affect reality. So to someone who isn't an active occult practitioner, planetary magic is no different. It's an observable construct we heighten our awareness to, so that with the symbolic attunement, we walk a path through the ancient seven spheres, dwelling with and attaining their energies for our own intentional direction. To an initiate, those energies aren't just symbolic. The moon is the fastest moving of the traditional planets, and our calendars worldwide are built upon and around it. A month is a moon-nth. That is the 28 days on average the moon takes to go through a full lunar cycle. A lunar cycle, or month, is actually how long it takes the moon, astrologically as well, to travel through, that is traverse, all the signs of a person's chart, as each takes about 2.5 days, give or take. And as it travels, Luna picks up the influences of those signs it's moving through, because the moon is the sensitive, accepting planet. Yes, the moon is a feminine planet. Remember in magic, feminine, passive, receptive, where masculine is projective, right? Active. So she, a feminine planet, welcomes in everything and anything she comes into contact with, passively and receptively. That's why we have words like mood, which corresponds to emotion, right? Our sensitive feelings, transitory, ebbing and flowing, responsive to the mental states and environments around us. Too heightened, and we might be deemed moody, right? Or think of ourselves as moody. Way too heightened, and you have words like lunacy, where Luna, the moon, is seen to have an association with the possibility of someone's emotions being so chaotic, they might now be labeling them as insane. On the Kabbalic tree, the moon corresponds to Yesod, aka the foundation, and belongs to the sacred Asiatic house of Lavana, which means the white one. That's why the best time to do white magic is when the moon is full, reflecting as much of that conscious light of the sun as possible, while dark or lessening magics, say like an uncrossing ritual, that's best to do when the moon is black, a dead moon, or fully waned. The moon's metal is silver. That's its metal element. Its magical element is water, but its metal is silver. And yes, in poor rumor and translation, right? That's why you have things like werewolves controlled by the moon who are susceptible to the element of silver, like a silver bullet. But that's really more public misinterpretation of the powers of the metal silver in Luna. The goddess Isis of ancient Egyptian lore is often associated with the moon, as is, of course, the weekday Monday, Moon Day. Liminal states and psychic powers, psychism, are ruled by the moon. And as the sun is emblematic of the conscious powers and energies of actively vital life, the moon is emblematic of specific subconscious powers and energies, the unseen, a more mystic and passively receptive creative force. The moon is also all about the sleeper and dreams. So ritual magic to draw upon dream work messages or dream manifestations of some kind, that would call upon the moon. As would, say, simpler forms of candle magic or spell work to perhaps aid someone who, say, has trouble sleeping, right? Then lunar or moon candle work or spell work is going to be the best way to approach having them help have a calmer, healthier, full night's rest. Anything that ebbs and flows, or any sort of cyclical magic workings, will rely on incorporating or directly invoking the lunar energetic currents of cyclical change and waxing or waning movements. The moon's archangel is the archangel of the waters, Gabriel, because Luna is all about the tides, right? It actually creates the tidal movements of all waters on the planet Earth. Not to mention how our bodies are mostly water. And so the moon has strong effects on us too. Everywhere in nature, you will see chemical, hormonal, or tidal influences on physical things like animals and people. Its planetary intelligence and spirit are also named for the initiated to call on after learning how to balance those forces safely. Water corresponds to emotion, and every occult practitioner knows heightened emotion is required to do magic, right? So the moon is all about this, water and emotion. Emotion is absolutely fundamental in order for even the simplest ritual magic, the easiest spell work or candlecraft to work. It isn't enough to just visualize an outcome, right? Any pro athlete can tell you the same. You have to visualize that outcome you're intentionally manifesting with massive, powerful, projective as you can get it, emotion. Believing it, seeing it, knowing it, feeling it, tasting it, smelling it, right? That driving emotion that's riding behind and through and above and below that outcome you're seeing as already accomplished. Because emotion is how you get the subconscious to take that information in as already being real. Heightened, amplified emotion is how you get magic to work. The moon reflects the light of the sun downward unto the earth, as the subconscious reflects the light of the consciousness unto this plane, right? Most Enochian magi, Hermetic magicians, Wiccans, Freemasons, initiated pagans, like the Druidic orders, Rosicrucians, you get the idea. Most will begin new projects or start new ideas or anything to do with creative new energies of all kinds. Most will go about that at the beginning of a new moon. That is when the moon is just starting its waxing journey from nothing into a tiny sliver and then growing larger, right? The bigger crescent until it becomes full. Because potential manifestation magics work best then. Waxing is that first half of the new moon becoming full. Waning is when it begins to disappear or decline back into nothingness. And it's not really nothingness, right? The moon is still there. It's just the light of the sun is now blocked from it, so we can't see it, right? But we call that the dead moon or the nothing moon. These waxing and waning cycles are everywhere around us. Our own lifespans correspond to that sacred cycle. As we are born, grow, reach a midlife point, and then begin our own graceful decline towards death, right? The triple goddess moon is fundamental to neo-paganism and most Wiccan witchcraft. Such is a principle of the all made corporally manifest on the physical plane. Every tree, every animal, insect, etc., belongs to such a cycle of waxing and waning. And so it's not a huge surprise that those who practice sacred magics start new generative things with the new moon and do decline or erosion magics with the waning moon's energies. Doing any outcome magic while the moon is void of course, which is a label for when it's transitioning between signs, is almost always going to fail. It's going to fail if you try to do something to create a manifest magic or outcome magic while the moon is void of course. Void of course is when Luna is in dead space, as it were, between influences. And during that time, it's considered to be unpredictable, off balance, unreliable, right? So probably not the best time to do magic. Void of course transitions can last hours to almost the full 2 days of a transitional period. So that's something to be aware of. Even if you're just beginning with planetary magic, initiates will automatically check their astrological calendars and plan important magics away from where the moon is void of course, and you should too. Again, there's a common sense to this. Trying to get things done when you're out of sync with the rhythms all around you doesn't work, right? We could all see that. We all have, say, that friend who compulsively starts stuff at the wrong time and then fails utterly, or drops that hobby or project for another and another and another, never starting one of them at the right or natural time with a harmonious consistency and calm comprehension of the ebb and flow, right? In magic, we create change. That means changing ourselves in order to change outcomes, becoming part of the natural rhythm so that we can use it to our best advantage is part of that. And in this specific instance of this example, it would mean if your friend took up ascribing their patterns and behaviors to that more cyclical beauty and harmony of the influence of lunar magics, then they'd begin to find focus, purposeful intention. They wouldn't do things as compulsively. They would have to learn patience, right? And right timing would become part of their influential ability, rather than compulsive or apathetic chaos. If you're looking to do some strong sort of banishing magic, for instance, that's going to be best done in the waning decline phase of the moon. If you're hoping to make something grow, like with a resource magic, right, best to do it with the waxing, growing moon. Pretty simple, really, but you'd be amazed how many people are out of sync with this powerful rhythm. As I was mentioning, all things have and obey natural cycles. They do. To know your own, where you fit into that scheme, is to be able to ride the hermetic pendulum with ease, rather than, say, forcibly trying to start some new project at the wrong time, and then wondering why stuff never works out the way you want. Look for the natural rhythms, abide by them, and the harmony of balance will carry your intentions as powerfully as they can be carried to the pinnacle of the wave. When you're working with magic, planetary, or any other type of magic, you want to be channeling energy and working with it. Working with its natural current, moving with that current, not fighting, pushing, struggling against it, right? Your magic is never going to be strong and it's never going to work that way. I go into concepts of this in both the tarot playlist a bit, but also this concept has gone over a lot in the 7 Hermetic Principles, and I have a playlist for that talks about it as well. Life is easier if you go with the flow. That's just common sense. Now, honestly, you can't always do that, right? There's some points, times, situations in your life where you're going to have to take intentioned action. I'm not discussing that. I'm just saying, generally, being in harmony with the natural currents around you makes things easier and makes sense. Don't force climbs at the wrong time. And don't fight downswings. I've heard people refer to this as rolling with the punches, right? Find your way into that harmony, that cyclical balance, that constant current of waxing and waning energies, and everything just gets easier. That is moon planetary magic. If you've watched the tarot card videos that I've made, that I was just referring to, either for a jumping off point, for self-reading explanation, or more importantly, hopefully, possibly, for meditative, exploratory, or contemplative use, you'll have picked up on how the moon's symbolism in the destined deck speaks to the interpretive ability to hold sway over and comprehend the messages of the subconscious mind, such as on the Priestess card, where Luna resides ever at her feet. The Priestess, she sits between the pillars of severity and mercy. She has that balance. And the moon rests ever at her feet because she had to come through it, the 9th Sephiroth, in order to take her seat upon her centered throne. Notice too the subtle triple goddess upon her brow. Another symbol of the lunar correspondences are being spoken of within that crown of connected bullhorns and solar disk. Netzach and Hod, force and form, combine in Luna. They combine in Yesod. It's through the moon that we gain access to force and form combining. And so too are intentional magics, which is what the combination of force and form is, intentional magic. The moon is considered by many to be the second most powerful and important planet in high magic, while the first is Saturn. Align yourself to the moon's natural rhythmic currents, and your magic will manifest. Until next time.